Harper Audio presents Mercury, a novel, by Margot Livesey, performed by Nicol, Zanzarella and Derek Perkins. Part 1. Donald. 1. My mother called me after a favourite uncle, who was in turn called after a Scottish king. Donald III was 60 when he first ascended the throne in 1093. He went on to reign twice, briefly and disastrously. As a child, I hated my name. Other children sang "Donald, where's your trousers" in the playground. But as an adult, I have come to appreciate being named after a valiant late bloomer, a man who seized the day. Of course, most Americans, when I introduce myself, are thinking not about Scottish history, but about a cartoon duck. They are surprised when I tell them that a Scot invented penicillin, and that James VI, for whom the Bible was so gloriously translated, was a keen amateur dentist. I used to believe that in my modest fashion I was contributing to the spread of Scottish values: thrift, industry, integrity. I have my own business, a full-service optometrist's, in a town outside Boston. More than most people, I have tested the hypothesis that the eye is the window to the soul. Give us a child until the age of 7, and he is ours for life, the Jesuits famously claimed, so perhaps it was my first 10 years in Scotland that inoculated me against American optimism. I am pleased by an average day, and I know I am neither great nor awesome. What's more, I don't believe other people are either, although I am too polite to say so. Before I started my business, I practiced as a surgeon, which taught me precision and humility. It was my mother who brought us to the States. In 1981 she was offered a 2-year position in the Boston office of her advertising company. My father, a manager for British Rail in the days when there still was a British Rail, was happy to have an adventure. On the plane over, while my little sister Frances made her doll's cups of tea, the three of us studied a map of America and made a list of places we wanted to see. We rented a house on Avon Hill in Cambridge. I attended a nearby school where I gradually made friends, but my real friend was Robert, whose parents ran a flower shop in Edinburgh. Round the corner from the house I still regarded as home. Every week I wrote to him on a blue aerogram, and every week I received a reply to my previous aerogram. Despite the stingy American holidays, my parents worked hard at our list, and from each place we visited, Washington, D.C., Yosemite, the Berkshires, New York, Montreal, I sent Robert a postcard. During our second Christmas I sent him a card from Key West, and it was there, beside the hotel swimming pool, that my parents announced that we were not going back to Scotland. In June, when the tenants left, our house would be sold. I had already written my Christmas thank-you letter to Robert. We'd exchanged model airplanes, and week after week, as I put off breaking the news, my aerograms grew briefer. I was suddenly aware that he would never see the Frog Pond on Boston Common, where my mother had taught us to skate, or the famous glass flowers that I had tried so hard to describe, that my new friends, Dean, David, Jim, Jerry, would never be more than names to him. At Easter, Robert wrote that he and his family had spent a week in a caravan near Montrose. They had played cricket with the family in the next caravan, and he and his brother had slept in their own wee tent. "It was fab," he wrote, "though Ian thrashes around in his sleep like a maniac." I didn't answer. I planned to, almost daily, but I could not bring myself to write even "Dear Robert." After 3 more letters, which I didn't open, he stopped writing, and when we went back to pack up our house, he was visiting cousins on the Isle of Wight. In the years that followed, my parents returned for a fortnight every August, but I chose to go to summer camp. A brief visit was worse than none. When I returned to Edinburgh at the age of 18 to study medicine,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?